My name is Emily Carter, and for 10 straight years, I became the event planner of my family without ever being asked. I was 12 the first time I decorated the house with cheap pink streamers from Walmart for my younger sister, Madison. She was turning 7 that year, and Mom was too busy working double shifts at the hospital. Dad, he was around, but not really. He liked to say he was handling things, which usually meant sitting in the garage, drinking beer with his buddies. So I blew up balloons until my lips hurt. I baked a box cake that sank in the middle, slathered it with chocolate frosting, and spelled "Happy Birthday, Maddie" in shaky letters. When Mom got home, she was relieved. "Oh, Emily, thank God you did this. You're such a lifesaver," and that became my role. Every year after that, I planned Madison's birthdays. Sweet 16 with fairy lights in the backyard. Her 18th, where I somehow convinced Dad to rent a party bus. I even made photo albums, edited videos, made sure she had the perfect Instagram moments. Madison was always the star, smiling in her sparkly dresses, blowing out candles while everyone cheered. And me? Every May, when my birthday rolled around, no one remembered. Sometimes Mom would toss me $20 the day after. Once, Dad just said, "We'll do something next weekend," but we never did. Madison would hug me with this guilty look, say, "Happy birthday, Em," and then rush off to hang with her friends. By the time I turned 22, I stopped expecting anything, but something snapped last year. It was my 23rd birthday. I sat at the dining table that night while Mom scrolled through her phone. Dad watched ESPN, and Madison came in giggling with a shopping bag in her hand. "Em, you wouldn't believe the dress I got for my party." She squealed. Her party. Not a word about mine. I remember staring at them, the family I had given a decade of my life to. The people I kept putting first. And in that moment, I realized they didn't forget me. No, they chose not to see me that night. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. Instead, I poured myself a glass of wine, sat in my room, and began to plan. For 10 years, I had planned birthdays out of love. This year, I would plan something else. Something darker. The idea began small. At first, I thought about just refusing to plan Madison's next birthday. Let her handle it. Let her see how it feels. But that wasn't enough. That wasn't justice. Then I thought about humiliation. Maybe I'd ruin her party in front of everyone, spoil the cake, expose her secrets. Let people see the Madison I knew, selfish, spoiled, entitled. But humiliation fades. People forget, and then, one night at 3 in the morning while scrolling through old photos, I had the thought that chilled me but also thrilled me. What if I planned her last birthday? The months leading up to Madison's 21st birthday were quiet. On the surface, I was the same Emily, helpful, responsible, invisible. But inside, I was calculating. Madison wanted a huge party this year. Vegas theme, she told me in January. Like poker tables, neon lights, the works. "You're the best at this, Em, please." Her words dripped with fake sweetness, the kind she used whenever she wanted something. I smiled. "Of course, Maddie, I'll handle everything." She grinned, hugged me, and ran off. And that was the moment I knew she would never see it coming. I started researching. Poison seemed too obvious. And risky. Guns? Too loud, too final. No, if I was going to do this, it had to be smart. It had to look like an accident. For weeks, I drove out to hardware stores, searched online forums late at night, read stories that would make any FBI agent suspicious. But I was careful. I cleared my history, used private browsing, even borrowed Wi-Fi from Starbucks just in case. The plan formed slowly, like a puzzle where each piece clicked into place. And the more I planned, the lighter I felt. For the first time in my life, I had control. By June, I had booked the venue, a rooftop bar downtown with sweeping city views. Madison squealed when she saw the photos. "This is perfect. You're the best sister ever." I hugged her back, smiling so wide my cheeks hurt. Inside, though, my heart was pounding with something darker than excitement, because this year, when Madison blew out her candles, the wish she never made would finally come true. That night, as I lay in bed, I whispered to myself, for 10 years, I planned her life. This year, I'll plan her end, and I fell asleep smiling. My name is Emily Carter. And for 10 straight years, I became the event planner of my family without ever being asked. I was 12 the first time I decorated the house with cheap pink streamers from Walmart for my younger sister, Madison. She was turning 7 that year, and Mom was too busy working double shifts at the hospital. Dad, he was around, but not really. He liked to say he was handling things, which usually meant sitting in the garage, drinking beer with his buddies. So I blew up balloons until my lips hurt. I baked a box cake that sank in the middle, slathered it with chocolate frosting, and spelled "Happy Birthday, Maddie" in shaky letters. When Mom got home, she was relieved. "Oh, Emily, thank God you did this. You're such a lifesaver," and that became my role. Every year after that, I planned Madison's birthdays. Sweet 16 with fairy lights in the backyard. Her 18th, where I somehow convinced Dad to rent a party bus. I even made photo albums, edited videos, made sure she had the perfect Instagram moments. Madison was always the star, smiling in her sparkly dresses, blowing out candles while everyone cheered, and me? Every May, when my birthday rolled around, no one remembered. Sometimes Mom would toss me $20 the day after. Once, Dad just said, "We'll do something next weekend," but we never did. Madison would hug me with this guilty look, say, "Happy birthday, and then rush off to hang with her friends. By the time I turned 22. I stopped expecting anything, but something snapped last year. It was my 23rd birthday. I sat at the dining table that night while Mom scrolled through her phone. Dad watched ESPN. And Madison came in giggling with a shopping bag in her hand. You wouldn't believe the dress I got for my party. She squealed. Her party. Not a word about mine. I remember staring at them, the family I had given a decade of my life to. The people I kept putting first. And in that moment, I realized they didn't forget me. No, they chose not to see me that night. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. Instead, I poured myself a glass of wine, sat in my room, and began to plan. For 10 years, I had planned birthdays out of love. This year, I would plan something else. Something darker. The idea began small. At first, I thought about just refusing to plan Madison's next birthday. Let her handle it. Let her see how it feels. But that wasn't enough. That wasn't justice. Then I thought about humiliation. Maybe I'd ruin her party in front of everyone, spoil the cake, expose her secrets. Let people see the Madison I knew, selfish, spoiled, entitled. But humiliation fades. People forget, and then, one night at 3 a.m, while scrolling through old photos, I had the thought that chilled me but also thrilled me. What if I planned her last birthday? The months leading up to Madison's 21st birthday were quiet. On the surface, I was the same Emily, helpful, responsible, invisible. But inside, I was calculating. Madison wanted a huge party this year. Vegas theme, she told me in January. Like poker tables, neon lights, the works. You're the best at this, please. Her words dripped with fake sweetness. The kind she used whenever she wanted something. I smiled. Of course, Maddie, I'll handle everything. She grinned, hugged me, and ran off. And that was the moment I knew she would never see it coming. I started researching. Poison seemed too obvious. And risky. Guns? Too loud, too final. No, if I was going to do this, it had to be smart. It had to look like an accident. For weeks, I drove out to hardware stores. Searched online forums late at night, read stories that would make any FBI agent suspicious. But I was careful. I cleared my history, used private browsing, even borrowed Wi-Fi from Starbucks just in case. The plan formed slowly, like a puzzle where each piece clicked into place. And the more I planned, the lighter I felt. For the first time in my life, I had control. By June, I had booked the venue, a rooftop bar downtown with sweeping city views. Madison squealed when she saw the photos. "This is perfect. You're the best sister ever." I hugged her back, smiling so wide my cheeks hurt. Inside, though, my heart was pounding with something darker than excitement, because this year, when Madison blew out her candles, the wish she never made would finally come true. That night, as I lay in bed, I whispered to myself, for 10 years, I planned her life. This year, I'll plan her end, and I fell asleep smiling. The summer heat in Los Angeles was suffocating, the kind that made the air feel heavy. But inside my chest burned something hotter than the July sun. Madison's birthday was 6 weeks away, and every single day was a countdown. She thought this would be the night of her life. She thought it would be about glitter, cocktails, rooftop selfies, and being 21 in America, the golden age of legal drinking, independence, freedom. But for me, it would be about something else entirely: justice. The tricky part was making sure I stayed invisible. That was easy. I had been invisible my whole life. One evening, Madison barged into my room without knocking. She was holding up a short, sequin dress. "What do you think?" she asked, spinning in front of my mirror. "It's sparkly," I said carefully. She laughed. "Duh, that's the point. I'm gonna look amazing. Everyone's gonna be talking about me that night. You'll help me with my hair, right?" "Of course," I said, smiling, and she just believed me. Just like that, that's when I realized how easy this would be. Madison trusted me, depended on me, never suspected I had my own thoughts, my own bitterness, my own plans. She saw me as nothing more than her helper, her background character, but I wasn't going to be invisible much longer. I spent hours at my laptop, late into the night, learning things I never thought I'd care about: how certain alcohols react when mixed with the wrong ingredients, how to tamper with food without anyone noticing, How quickly a person could collapse if something disrupted their system just right. It terrified me. And yet it fascinated me. I was dancing on the edge of something irreversible. One night, as I scrolled through medical forums, I whispered to myself, you can still stop. No one knows. You could just not do this. But then I remembered my 23rd birthday, sitting alone while my family laughed about dresses and drinks, forgetting me like I didn't exist. No, there was no turning back. By day, I kept up appearances at Starbucks. Madison and I would sit across from each other while I helped her finalize her guest list. Oh my God, Tyler's totally coming, she squealed one afternoon, sipping her iced caramel macchiato. You know how hot he is, right? If he flirts with me at the party, I swear, I'll die. I smiled, nodding, taking notes on my iPad like her personal assistant. You're the best. Seriously, I don't know what I'd do without you. And I wanted to laugh in her face, because she had no idea what she'd do without me. And soon, she would find out. One problem kept nagging at me, accidents raised questions. I couldn't just poison her drink in plain sight. Too obvious. Too risky. Then, one night, inspiration struck. Madison had a peanut allergy. Not deadly, not the kind that sent her into anaphylaxis with one bite, but strong enough that even trace amounts gave her severe reactions, hives, swelling, trouble breathing. I remembered when we were kids. She once ate a cookie that had been near peanut butter. Within an hour, her face puffed up, her lips turned purple, and Mom had to rush her to the ER. Madison hated peanuts, avoided them obsessively. But what if, just once, one slipped through? It would look like an accident. Just one careless mistake at a crowded party, and nobody would ever suspect me. The next week, I bought a jar of creamy peanut butter and kept it hidden under my bed. Every night, I would take it out, stare at it, my hands trembling as I unscrewed the lid. The smell was overwhelming, nutty, and heavy, and I imagined it on Madison's lips, in her throat, suffocating her laughter. The fantasy gave me goosebumps. But it wasn't enough to just think about it. I needed to practice. So one afternoon, while Madison was out shopping, I took one of her lip gloss tubes from the bathroom counter. It was pink and glittery, just like her. I dipped a cotton swab into the peanut butter and smeared the thinnest layer inside the rim of the gloss. Then I put it back exactly how I found it. My heart pounded for days, waiting. Would she notice? Would she get sick? 3 nights later, Madison burst into the kitchen, her face blotchy red, eyes watery. Ugh, my lips feel weird, she complained. I think I had an allergic reaction. Maybe that Thai place used peanut oil. Mom fussed over her, making tea and giving her antihistamines. Dad barely looked up from his game, and me? I sat there at the table, poker-faced, while inside, a dark thrill coursed through me. It worked. The rehearsal was perfect. The party would be flawless. The plan was simple. On the night of Madison's 21st, I'd make sure she had her favorite lipstick on hand. Right before she went to blow out her candles, I'd give her a quick touch-up. A smear of gloss mixed with the tiniest bit of peanut oil I'd prepared. With alcohol in her system and the excitement of the night, no one would notice the reaction immediately. And by the time they did, I smiled to myself in the mirror as I brushed my hair. For 10 years, I gave her life, color, sparkle, joy. This year, I'd give her silence, but fate has a way of playing games. Because just when I thought I had everything under control, someone else started watching me. The first time I felt eyes on me, it was late at night. I had just returned from the 24-hour pharmacy, a brown paper bag in my hand. Inside was a tiny vial of peanut oil I'd transferred from the jar, sealed tight so I could carry it without suspicion. My palms were sweaty as I climbed the stairs to my apartment, and then, just before I slipped the key into the lock, I saw a shadow across the hallway. Someone moved too quickly, too deliberately. Hello? I called out, my voice shaky but steady enough to mask the storm inside me. Silence. I shook my head and laughed nervously. Maybe it was just a neighbor. Maybe I was paranoid. But something about the way the shadow moved too sharp, too intentional lingered in my mind. I went inside, locked the door, and pressed my back against it. My heart was racing. For the first time, I wondered if I was being followed. The next morning, I brushed it off. Sleep deprivation, nerves, imagination running wild. That had to be it. Madison, meanwhile, was more radiant than ever. She came downstairs twirling in another dress she'd bought, holding her phone high as she recorded herself on TikTok. Look at this. Should I wear this for the pre-party brunch or save it for the rooftop? Save it for the rooftop, I said automatically. She grinned. See, this is why I need you, I smiled back, hiding the thought that screamed inside me, you need me more than you'll ever know. 2 days later, it happened again. I was at Target, picking up decorations, black and gold streamers, glittery confetti, the usual trash Madison adored. As I checked out, I noticed a man in line behind me. Late 30s, baseball cap pulled low, clean-shaven jaw. Nothing unusual. But when I left, he left too. I walked slower. He walked slower, I stopped to check my phone. He stopped too, pretending to adjust his hat. My chest tightened quickly. I hurried into the parking lot, fumbling with my car keys. The man followed at a distance. My throat went dry and I nearly dropped the bags. When I finally slid into my car and locked the doors, I dared to glance into the rearview mirror. He was standing still, just a few feet away, watching me. And then he smiled, not a friendly smile. A knowing one. My blood ran cold. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake in bed, clutching the peanut oil vial under my pillow like a lifeline. Who was he? What did he know? Did he suspect? The next morning, I searched online. Private investigators, cops in plain clothes. Even ex-boyfriends. Madison had dumped. Anyone could have a reason to watch us. But why me? And then it hit me. Maybe Madison had started suspecting. Maybe she had hired someone. The idea was absurd, but once it lodged in my brain, it wouldn't leave. The following weekend, I tested my theory. Madison had invited a group of friends over to pre-plan her VIP list. I lingered in the kitchen, pretending to slice lemons while listening to their laughter from the living room. Through the window, I scanned the street, and there he was. Same man, same baseball cap, leaning against a black SUV across the road, pretending to scroll his phone. My knife froze mid-slice. He wasn't following Madison. He was following me. I told myself I wasn't scared. But fear has a way of curling around your ribs until you can't breathe. That night, when Madison fell asleep, I crept outside and crossed the street. The SUV was still there. Empty now. I peered inside. Fast food wrappers on the passenger seat, a notebook on the dash. My fingers itched to grab it, but a wave of headlights forced me back, paranoid. I darted down an alley, breathing hard. The city was alive with noises, sirens, barking dogs, distant laughter. But all I could hear was the echo of my footsteps, and then, looking for something, I spun around. The man was standing at the end of the alley. My breath caught in my throat. He stepped closer, calm, casual. Relax, I'm not here to hurt you. I gripped the strap of my purse like a weapon. Who the hell are you? He tilted his head. Let's just say, someone who knows what you're planning. The air left my lungs. My body went rigid, ice running through my veins. I don't know what you're talking about. I stammered, his smile widened. Come on, Emily, you've been so careful. The browsing history deletions, the late night trips, the peanut butter under the bed, clever. Really clever. But not clever enough. My knees nearly buckled. He knew. Before I could speak, he slipped a card into my hand. When you're ready to talk, call me. Then he turned and walked away, disappearing into the night. I stood frozen, staring down at the card. It read only two words, I know. Back home, I locked the doors, shut the blinds, and collapsed onto the couch. My hands shook as I held the card. Someone was onto me. Someone had been watching me for weeks. But the question that kept pounding in my head was worse than anything else. Was he going to stop me? Or help me? The card sat on my nightstand like a loaded gun. I stared at it for hours, unable to sleep, unable to think. 2 words. I know. It was insane. Nobody was supposed to know. My plan was airtight. I had rehearsed every detail, deleted every breadcrumb. But somehow, this stranger had found me, had followed me. Had seen through my invisibility for the first time since my 23rd birthday. I felt small again, helpless, the same girl who had been forgotten year after year. But I wasn't that girl anymore. The next morning, Madison breezed into the kitchen singing some pop song, her phone glued to her hand. Morning, Em. Guess what? Tyler DM'd me again. He's totally coming to the party. That's great, I murmured, sipping my coffee, eyes on the card in my palm. What's that? She asked, leaning over. I slipped it into my pocket. Nothing. Just a business card, she shrugged, already distracted by her reflection in the microwave. I studied her as she poured herself cereal, oblivious and happy. She had no idea her life had turned into a countdown. She had no idea someone else was pulling at the edges of my plan. By noon, I couldn't take it anymore. I dialed the number printed faintly on the back of the card. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Then, Emily, a voice said, smooth, confident. I wondered how long it would take. My heart pounded. Who are you? You don't need my name. Meet me tonight, 8 o'clock. The corner of 5th and Broadway. I'm not meeting you anywhere. You will, he interrupted calmly. Because you're about to make the biggest mistake of your life. The line went dead. All afternoon, I tried to convince myself not to go. It could be a setup, a scam, a cop, a psycho, but curiosity is a powerful drug and fear even more so. At 7:45 p.m., I found myself parking near 5th and Broadway, my hoodie pulled low over my face. The city buzzed around me, street performers, honking taxis. The smell of grilled food drifting from a food truck. I spotted him leaning against a lamppost, hands in his pockets. Same baseball cap. Same knowing smile. Brave of you to come, he said as I approached. Who are you? I demanded. He nodded toward a coffee shop inside. Too many ears out here. We sat at a corner table. He ordered a black coffee. I didn't order anything. My hands were clenched in my lap, nails digging into my skin. Let's make this quick, I snapped. Why are you following me? Because, he said, leaning forward, I know what you're planning for your sister. A cold shiver ran down my spine. I don't. He raised a hand. Don't insult my intelligence. You've been researching methods, testing substances, rehearsing. You even did a trial run with her lip gloss. Clever. My stomach churned. Are you a cop? He smirked. If I were a cop, you'd already be in handcuffs. Then what do you want? His eyes darkened. To stop you. Or to make sure you do it right. That's up to you. I blinked. What? I'm not here to save your sister, Emily, he said softly. I'm here because I've been where you are. For a moment, the noise of the coffee shop faded. What do you mean? He took a slow sip of his drink. My name's Daniel. 10 years ago, I had a brother, abusive, manipulative. My parents worshipped him. I was the invisible one. Just like you. I planned his graduation, his birthdays, even his engagement party. And when my turn came, nothing. I was a ghost. He looked me dead in the eye. One night, I decided I'd had enough. And I did something about it. My throat went dry. What did you do? He smiled faintly. Let's just say he's not a problem anymore. The room tilted around me. You're lying, I whispered. I'm not. He leaned closer. I've been watching you, Emily, because I recognize the signs. The planning. The quiet rage. The way you still take care of her even while you're plotting. It's the same path I walked. I shook my head, backing up. I'm not you, aren't you? He asked quietly. Outside, the air was cold against my burning skin. Daniel followed me out, his voice low. You think you're in control. But once you cross that line, it's not control anymore. It's chaos. It never ends the way you think. I spun around. Then why are you here? Why are you helping me? He stared at me for a long time. Because nobody helped me. And I can't undo what I did. But maybe I can stop you. I swallowed hard, my mind a storm. He reached into his pocket and handed me another card. This one had an address written on it. If you're serious about going through with this, he said. Come here tomorrow night. I'll show you a way that won't get you caught. A clean way. But if you're still human enough to stop, burn the card and never see me again. Then he walked away, melting into the crowd like smoke. Back home, I sat in the dark, clutching the new card. Madison's laughter drifted from her room, light and carefree. She was probably fast-timing Tyler, picking out outfits, living her perfect life, and me? I was staring at the edge of a cliff, unsure whether to jump or to crawl back. Daniel's words echoed in my head. It never ends the way you think. But another voice whispered darker. 10 years. 10 forgotten birthdays. This is your moment. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow night, I would decide. Asterisk. The address Daniel had given me was scrawled in messy handwriting on a plain white card. I stared at it all night, my hands trembling. Burn it, he had said, if you're still human. But I couldn't burn it. By morning, my decision felt inevitable. 10 years of silence, of being forgotten. Of sacrificing my own life for Madison's glow. It all pressed down on me like a weight. And now there was Daniel, a stranger who somehow understood every dark corner of my heart. I told myself I was only going to meet him to tell him no. That's what I repeated as I got dressed, as I slipped the card into my back pocket. But deep down, I knew I wanted to hear him out. It was a crumbling warehouse near the edge of downtown. The kind of place you'd expect to find in crime shows. Broken windows, graffiti, the smell of oil and rust. I parked a block away and walked the last few steps, my hoodie pulled low over my head. Inside, the air was damp and cold. A single hanging bulb lit the room. Daniel was already there, leaning against a metal table covered in papers. You came, he said quietly. I shouldn't have, but you did. I stayed near the door. If you're going to stop me, just do it now. Call the cops. I'm tired of this game. He shook his head. I didn't call the cops, Emily. I'm not a cop. Then what are you? He sighed, running a hand over his face. I told you. Someone who's been where you are. He gestured to the table. Come here, look. I hesitated, then stepped closer. Spread across the metal were photographs, candid shots of me over the last month. Leaving the pharmacy. Buying decorations at Target. Sitting in my car staring at the peanut oil. My stomach turned. You've been stalking me. I've been protecting you, he said calmly. Because once you do this, there's no going back. I stared at him, my voice trembling. Why are you really here, Daniel? He met my eyes. Because I know what it feels like to have a sister who takes everything. To plan her life while yours disappears. To become the ghost, and I whispered, and because I killed her, the room tilted. You what? His voice stayed low, almost gentle. I was 19. She was 23. She humiliated me, used me, broke me down until I had nothing left. One night, I gave her pills too many and called it an accident. It worked. Everyone thought it was a tragic overdose. He looked away, jaw clenched. But it didn't give me peace. It gave me a lifetime of nightmares. You think this will make them pay, Emily? It won't. It will make you one of them. My throat closed. So what do you want from me? I want you to stop, he said softly. Before you cross the line. Before you're me. I stared at him, my chest heaving. Then why did you say you could show me a clean way? Because I wanted you to come, he admitted. I wanted you to face someone who'd already done it. To see what it looks like on the other side. I felt dizzy, betrayed, angry. You lied to me. I saved you. No, I snapped, stepping back. You don't know me. You don't know what she's done. You think this is just about birthdays? It's 10 years of erasing me. Of making me nothing. I deserve to exist. Daniel's eyes softened. You do. But not like this. I shook my head, tears burning my eyes. You had your choice. This is mine. I turned and stormed out of the warehouse. The city air hit my face like ice. Behind me, Daniel called out, but I didn't stop. My heart pounded as I walked back to my car, his words echoing in my mind. It won't give you peace. It will make you one of them. But another voice whispered louder. 10 years. 10 forgotten birthdays. This is your moment. That night, I moved like a machine. I mixed the peanut oil with Madison's favorite lip gloss, sealed it carefully, and placed it in my makeup bag. The rooftop venue was already decorated, the cake ordered, the guest list finalized. All I had to do was show up and watch. Madison poked her head into my room as I zipped up my bag. You ready for tomorrow? She beamed. It's gonna be epic. I forced a smile. Yeah, epic. She bounced over and hugged me, smelling like expensive perfume. You're the best sister ever, Em. Seriously, I don't know what I'd do without you. The irony nearly choked me. When she left, I sat on the bed staring at the lip gloss. Daniel's face haunted me. He'd killed his sister. And now he was a ghost of a man wandering warehouses, chasing strangers to stop them from becoming him. Was that who I was about to become? At 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It's not too late. I stared at it until the screen went dark. Tomorrow night, Madison would blow out her candles. And one of us would never be the same. The rooftop glowed under strings of golden lights. The city skyline shimmering in the background. Music pounded through the speakers and the air smelled of champagne and cigarette smoke. Madison was the center of it all, as always. Her sequin dress catching the light with every move. Guests swarmed around her, snapping selfies, handing her cocktails, shouting, "Happy 21st, Maddie." She laughed, twirled, basked in the attention like the queen she thought she was, and I, as usual, stood in the background, her loyal shadow. Only this time, I carried more than streamers and confetti. In my bag was the lip gloss, tainted with peanut oil. Her crown jewel. Tonight was her last birthday. Around 10 p.m., the DJ killed the music, and the crowd gathered around the cake. A giant 3-tiered monstrosity, gold glitter dusted across the frosting. "Happy 21st, Madison," piped in flawless cursive. The crowd chanted, "Speech, speech." Madison giggled and waved them off, clutching her champagne glass. "Guys, seriously, this is like the best night ever," she squealed. And I have to thank my amazing sister, Emily, because literally none of this would be happening without her. She's the best. Applause erupted. Everyone looked at me. My face burned with fake humility as I raised a hand. Nobody knew the truth. Nobody knew this would be the last time Madison Carter ever made a speech. She leaned toward me. Touch up my lipstick before the cake, okay? Don't let me look ugly in the photos." My heart thundered. Of course, I reached into my bag, fingers brushing against the poison gloss. My palms were slick with sweat. I pulled it out, twisting the cap slowly. This was it. 10 years of silence, 10 years of being invisible. About to end with one swipe across her lips, but then don't. The word was soft, but sharp enough to cut through the music and laughter. I froze. Daniel stood at the edge of the crowd. His baseball cap pulled low, his eyes locked on mine. He shook his head, almost imperceptibly. My pulse hammered. Madison grabbed my arm, impatient. Come on, everyone's waiting." I looked at her, my sister, glowing in the lights, everyone's darling. The girl who had erased me without even noticing. Then I looked at Daniel. His stare burned through me, heavy with the weight of his own sin. "Don't be me," his eyes said. My hand trembled. The gloss slipped, clattering to the floor. "Oops," I said quickly, crouching down, fumbling to pick it up. "Wrong one." I pulled out a different gloss from my bag and touched. "Harmless." Madison huffed. "Ugh, hurry." I painted her lips carefully, sealing her smile in glossy pink. My chest heaved as I clicked the cap shut. There, I whispered. Perfect, she grinned, oblivious. Thanks, sis. You're a lifesaver. No, I thought bitterly. I was her life taker. I just didn't follow through. The candles were lit. Madison leaned forward, her hair gleaming. Her friends chanting around her. Make a wish, they shouted, and I wondered what she wished for. More dresses? More followers? More years of being adored while I faded into nothing. She blew out the candles, and the crowd erupted in cheers. But me? I felt hollow. After midnight, the rooftop emptied. Madison was drunk and happy, draped over Tyler's arm, bragging about how this was the best birthday ever. Mom cried happy tears. Dad slapped my back. You did good, kid, he said. I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. When everyone was distracted, I slipped away. Down the stairs, out into the night. Daniel was waiting by the curb. You didn't do it, he said softly. No, I whispered. But I wanted to, he nodded. Wanting isn't the same as doing. That's what saved you, I glared at him. Saved me, for what? For another 10 years of being nothing? His eyes were sad. No, for another chance to be something. I shook my head, tears stinging my eyes. You don't get it. She'll always be the star. I'll always be the shadow. Not anymore, he said. Tonight you proved you're stronger than she'll ever be. You said no. That's power. I looked away, hugging myself. So what now? Daniel stepped closer. Now you start living for yourself. Leave, build your own life. Don't waste it chasing revenge that won't fix the past. The city lights flickered against his face. He looked older than I'd realized, worn down by guilt, and suddenly, I saw what he meant. He wasn't saving me for Madison's sake. He was saving me from becoming him. The next morning, Madison stumbled into the kitchen, hungover but glowing. Last night was insane. Everyone said it was the best party ever. Seriously, you're like a genius. I don't know what I'd do without you. Her words cut deep, but this time I didn't smile. I looked her straight in the eye. Then maybe you should find out, she blinked. Confused as I set down my coffee, grabbed my jacket, and walked out the door for the first time in 10 years. I wasn't planning her life, I was planning mine outside. The morning sun broke over the city, warm against my skin. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Proud of you. I slipped the phone into my pocket, inhaled the cool air, and started walking. For once, I wasn't invisible. For once, I was free.